Howdy. My name is Noir, otherwise known on Instagram as Animal Teeth 13, and I am a multimedia artist. I primarily am known for screen printing, patches, and T-shirts, but there's a lot of other stuff I do as well. Like I print stickers. Right now, I can only do square and rectangular designs, but working on fixing that. I plan on eventually investing in buttons. I do graphic design, so concept art, logo art, album art, all sorts of stuff. So yeah, if and I also work with oddities, bones, skulls, all sorts of things like that. I've made quite a few keychains, and I plan on trying to expand what I do into other mediums. Like I said, multimedia artist. I love being a jack of all trades and just doing everything artistic and creatively incentivized. So that's me. Yeah. I also use they them pronouns.
So tell me what you have created today.
What I've created today. So right over here we've got the finalized products of Mosh for the Dead. It was a fest that my good friend over here, Woven Way Media, hosted. In order for people to be able to mosh for their loved ones and remember them. The front design is an image of uh, a person and a skeleton moshing together with the Mosh for the Dead text, and the back piece has the times, the date, and where it was hosted, so it almost feels like an actual official sort of concert festy. I took inspiration from the t-shirts that No Values kind of does. I took inspiration from the way they formatted it. So, yeah, that's what we've got here.
And how long have you been involved with the LA punk scene?
So I haven't necessarily gotten into the LA punk scene much because I live all the way in Orange County. So I was in the punk scene kind of in Long Beach, Huntington Beach sort of area. And I really haven't been here that long. I haven't even been here a full year yet. I think my 1 year baby punk anniversary will be in February. And I just kind of got dragged in here super duper fast. I couldn't find a scene where I live, and I was willing to make the drive to find a home elsewhere. So here I am today.
Do you have any favorite local bands?
Favorite local bands? I do. I do have quite a few. There have been some recent controversies surrounding this band, but as a person who is good friends with them and actually toured with them, I will defend them. I'll stick up for them. They are wonderful people, and they were the people that actually brought me into the punk scene in the first place, and that is Narcotics Division. I think they have a really interesting sound that I haven't really heard before, and I really enjoy the diversity of their discography. I did two of their album covers on Spotify. If you check out the recently released and updated version of Insecticide, I did that. I did the text design, the font design, and the cicada drawing. And I also have a speed paint on my Instagram if you want to check that out. And I also did the border art for ATF, Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. And yeah, they're wonderful people. They are chaotic, crazy, and borderline insane. And their fan base is like a cult. But honestly, I think they're just the most fun people to be around. I had the best summer I could have possibly had with them. And aside from them, gotta shout out Hate Speech. I am biased because I've made merch for all of these people, but they are all so kind and so supportive. And Hate Speech, the music that they have on their Spotify sounds so well produced. It sounds so fleshed out, so polished, and almost like truly professional. And they're just really, really cool people. Additionally, got a shout out Rascal Stew. They don't get enough traction, and their 10-year anniversary is coming up in April. So keep an eye out for the teaser flyer that I will be designing. And aside from them, priapism is also pretty dope. And maybe, honestly, that's all I can think of right now. I'm kind of blanking, but yeah, those four people, like all of them are not only incredibly talented, but also just a ton of fun to be around. They're all really, really great people, and you're always gonna have a good time if you're spending time with them. So, long story short, Narcotics Division, Rascal Stew, Hate Speech, and Priapism. Oh, also Surrounded by Strangers. They're dope.
How was the mosh for the Dead Fest?
Oh my god. It was insane. I've never been to FKA Church before, and it was just it was stellar. It was such an incredible show. I've never seen so much life and enthusiasm and positivity in a crowd in my entire life. And it was just it was incredible. Everybody was just so happy to be there, and previously at other shows that I've vended for when I've been just selling band merch and stuff on band's behalf, there would be a lot of times where I'd just be sitting at the table doing nothing, kind of like just twiddling my thumbs or being on my phone or drawing or whatever. But I barely had time to sit down at Mosh for the Dead. I was talking to people, making connections, selling shirts, selling merch, taking pictures. It was just a totally stellar show, and I really hope that we could potentially get to a Mosh for the Dead too. That would be super duper dope. And yeah, it was an incredible gathering, and I really felt like just there was so much love and life there. It was awesome. It was literally just awesome.
So, when it comes to screen printing, what are the struggles you deal with that you don't talk about?
I faced quite a few with this project. I have never done a design front and back that was this big. I did do a design on the back of a shirt that was about the same size, but never anything this large. So that was frustrating. Additionally, emulsion is incredibly sensitive. It's very, very light sensitive. It's sensitive to temperature. And emulsion is the coating that you put onto a mesh screen. And you place down a stencil, which has transparent paper and a black stencil printed onto it. You have to invert it and place it on not the side where you push the ink through, but the side where it's laying down on the shirt. And sometimes, and backtracking, the black blocks the light from hitting it, and thus leaves it, like, it'll wash out. And sometimes you can overexpose or underexpose things, so you have to take the time to figure out what is going to be the right time, what are all of the factors that you need. And because I have a very DIY setup, the factors can sometimes change. And all of the products are very expensive. It is a difficult hobby and a difficult medium to start because of how expensive everything can be. It is it's just like it's wildly expensive. It's more expensive than I think it should be. And additionally, it can be very, very frustrating when things go wrong, because if the emulsion is overexposed, you have to start over and you have to reclaim the screen with emulsion remover. And if you leave the emulsion remover on for too long, then the emulsion will lock into the screen. It will be physically impossible to get the emulsion out of the screen, so you won't be able to start over, and you'll either have to remesh it or trash it. It's a labor of love, and it can be really, really frustrating. The worst thing that you can do is get so frustrated that you give up. I've had moments like that where I really, really wanted to, but inevitably I did persevere, and, look how this came out. Another thing that I do feel quite guilty about sometimes is this isn't something that I necessarily don't talk about. I try to be transparent about it, but I'm not posting about it. I am transparent about it with my clients. there are going to be imperfections. The press that I have is not high quality or professional. It just gets the job done, and I have to put in a lot more effort to push the ink through, and sometimes there will be inconsistencies. Like you can see, this is mostly solid and pretty opaque. Meanwhile, this one, the ink didn't get pushed all the way through on the M. So sometimes there are going to be little discrepancies like that, and that's part of why I try to be so affordable, because at the end of the day, I started doing this in like February, and I'm not the most experienced person, so I want to be able to provide prices that reflect my skill level and reflect my capabilities. And those will eventually rise when I reach a point where everything I'm creating is pretty consistent and of a consistent quality. But until then, right now, I'm pretty affordable, and that's something I kind of pride myself on. I've definitely seen a lot of other screen printing people, and they charge quite a bit, and I'm like, wow, I wouldn't really want to pay that. But they deserve that amount of money because they have all of the products and the necessary means. So, definitely the hardest parts that I don't talk about screen printing would be emulsion. It's super finicky, can be really, really frustrating. Sometimes you want to throw it across the room, but you can't because then it would make a huge mess. And also the inconsistencies that can sometimes occur, and the process of having to start over because it's a very time-consuming process. And also being a perfectionist and debilitating back problems. That's an issue I've been having, and I'm making it worse by slouching right now, but yeah, screen printing is truly a labor of love, and I've put my blood, sweat, and tears into it, but it's honestly been the most rewarding hobby that I've ever delved into, and the most rewarding medium I've ever delved into, and I'm hoping to potentially pursue it with my future career.
So, with your talent, what are your goals? Like, what are your future goals? What what do you want to work on more bands? Do you like what the scene?
Future goals, definitely gonna be expand my services and have people know about what else I can do. Um, I definitely want to invest in some potentially higher quality products. I want to work on my time management. I want to not only allocate more time than I think I need, but also more time for in case I'm having a bad back day, because sometimes my back will hurt so bad I literally just can't get out of bed. And that's a personal problem that I got to deal with. It's not a part of the client's problem, so that's something I definitely have to work on. I'm also hoping to work with more bands to help create cover art and logos. I recently did album art for the Degenerates, and that was a very arduous process. I had to learn how to do a lot of things that I haven't done before, but I'm pretty proud of how it turned out, and I'm definitely looking to expand my portfolio and show people more of what it is that I'm capable of, because I think people don't know it, but I am a very capable artist. There's a lot of stuff I can do, and it isn't even me trying to brag, it's just a matter of fact. Because I've been doing this like literally my whole life. And additionally, I'm hoping to go to more shows, improve my photography, and work with more bands, befriend more bands, and potentially try to be a roadie for a tour again over the summer, because that was the most fun I've ever had. And yeah, definitely just hoping to improve my skill and my capabilities and get my name out there.
What has your experience been like uh, when it comes to the punk scene?
Um, Honestly, pretty positive. I've had a couple moments that have been pretty scary. Um, there was a show at Long Beach where there was a conflict within a mosh pit, and there was this guy that was like really high or something, and slight trigger warning, this is like a little graphic, but he cut some girl or punched her in the throat, and everybody like kicked him out or whatever, and he came back and he had a gun, and that was fucking terrifying. I just kind of stood there paralyzed in fear when the car pulled up in front of me, but my friend grabbed me and yanked me behind the amp, and thankfully no one was shot, but there was that poor girl that was injured. And I think in the punk scene, yeah, there are a lot of very kind, wonderful human beings that were outcasted within wherever they live, and they were just searching for a sense of community. But then I think there are also some people that try to use the mosh pit and the hardcore, break all the rules, ignore everything type of mindset within punk to get away with being malicious and being cruel and hurting other people. And I think that's definitely something that we've got to keep an eye out for, because at the end of the day, I don't think punk should ever be about intentionally causing harm to another person for absolutely no reason. They're just an innocent bystander. And another thing that can be a little scary is, as a person that is pierced, I have to be careful in the mosh pit, because I've had one of my piercings literally kicked out of my ear, and I had to like grovel on the ground to try and find the pin for it, and then I had to get someone else to thread it back in, and that shit fucking hurt. So definitely things that I'm worried about or scared of within the punk scene would be that 1% of people that are genuinely just not good people, and seek to cause harm to other people, and also being a pierced person within a mosh pit, and always being scared that I'm gonna get one of my piercings kicked really hard, and then that's gonna be a whole ordeal to deal with.
What would you say are the biggest issues in the punk scene?
I feel like people have been forgetting what it means to be punk, and don't get me wrong, like I'm in no way a position to speak on what is or isn't punk, because I haven't even been here a year, and I'm sure there are tons of people that are way more equipped to answer this question. But opinion based, I am obviously a teenager. I'm 19, and I spend probably too much time online, and I think there's way too many people just constantly feeding into punk discourse and making things into issues when there doesn't need to be issues. Like, I saw someone comment on someone's video the other day where they said something like, you don't have to go to local shows to be punk, you just have to wear the clothes and listen to the music and follow the ideologies. I'm pretty sure going to local shows, supporting local artists and bands is a pretty important part of the punk scene. And I think people forget that punk is all about community, and also like not following the rules or anything. And it's become more complicated than it needs to be. It's become more complicated than it used to be. And I also think cancel culture has gotten really, really out of hand within the punk scene. Because one person says something, and because the punk scene is shrinking, word spreads like a wildfire, and the moment you have something out against you, you can be ostracized almost instantaneously. And I think people forget that at the end of the day, we're all just human. And if you're obviously doing something that's genuinely disgusting, then you shouldn't be there. But if you make a mistake, or if someone hurts you, I think it is more reasonable and rational to just sit down and have a conversation with them. And if they refuse to change, and if they refuse to apologize, then that's maybe when you can start considering bringing it up to other people and discussing it. But I think the ruining of reputations and the causing intentional harm, both physically and online, is just something that is kind of taking over the punk scene, and it's really disheartening to see. Um, because like that's not what punk rock is about. Punk rock is about just like having a good time, moshing, um, getting drunk or not getting drunk, and just being together to enjoy and to truly feel the music. And it's not about arguing. It's not about pushing each other away. It's not about fighting. It's supposed to be a place where people who are outcasts can come together, and I think uh, that needs to be revisited, and I think people need to start remembering that.
What is your opinion on drugs being sold at all ages shows?
That's a super loaded question. Wow. I'm going to be very careful and deliberate with my words here. So forgive me if this is slower. I'm going to take a drink first, clear my throat cuz this is a hefty question. Um I think partly it depends on the drug. Um I don't think NOS or Whippets or nitrous oxide should be sold at shows because that literally actively kills your brain as you take hits of it. I tried it once because I was offered and I was a little curious, and it was definitely super duper weird, but it felt like my whole world zoomed out. But I've seen and heard horror stories of what NOS can do to people, and I don't think it's something that should be present for children who are still developing. Their brains are still developing. Like, our frontal lobes have yet to develop until we're 25. I don't think they should be sold at all ages shows. At the very minimum, maybe like 18 plus or 21 plus shows, but even then, I don't think it's something that should be present within punk at all because it's just causing pain to people and literally killing their brains, and that's cruel and unnecessary. I think weed and alcohol and stuff like that, I have slightly mixed opinions on that for all ages shows. I think we should be weary and careful if vendors are just like seeing kids that are obviously kids and just having no problem giving them weed or alcohol because like I said, brain's still developing. You shouldn't be indulging in substances that can and will negatively impact your growth, both mentally and physically, and can have pretty adverse effects. I think there needs to be more education and more information on these things like that. And also, I think it should be entirely justified for vendors to ask for ID or proof of age or anything like that. And I don't think that's a crazy thing to say. Maybe I'm wrong. Um, I don't think that a 15-year-old should be buying a joint, especially when they're so young. And hard drugs or anything like that, I don't think that should be sold at shows because I don't know. I don't have as much information, so I'm not going to delve into that too much. But I don't think things that can significantly negatively impact you and feed into like life changing addictions that can damage you for the rest of your life should be accessible at punk shows. I think weed and alcohol is fine, but anything other than that, and especially selling to children, I don't think could ever possibly have a valid or justified explanation.
All right. So, what is your next projects?
My next projects, I don't really have any planned right now because unfortunately, I am in college and I came home for winter break. I had 3 weeks home, and I'm heading back on the 5th. I go to Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, um, and that is like 4.5 hours away. And I live in a dorm, so I don't have access to all of my stuff, all of my materials, everything like that. Um, and because of that, I'm definitely limited in what I can do, but I make posts about when my breaks are, when I'm coming back, and how I'd be happy to like work with people within those breaks, because it's something that I love. Like it is work, but it's something that I enjoy doing and that I take pride in, and that school can definitely be a limiting factor. There's some artists I'm hoping to eventually collaborate with. And additionally, I may or may not be taking part and collaborating with someone on creating a zine, being the main person for graphic design and sometimes a little bit of writing, because English is something that's always been a sort of enjoyment of mine, not as big as the visual creative hobbies, but that's definitely a pretty big project that I'm excited to start. Not sure when it's gonna happen, but we'll see what happens. And I can't think of any other projects that I have directly planned. Um, but I am always super happy for like ideas and DMs about commissions. During breaks, my breaks and when I'm home, screen printing commissions will be open. But graphic design, concept art, logo art, band, concept art, all sorts of things like that, those will always be open. And I'm also potentially thinking about relearning how to animate. So potentially keep an eye out for that. And oh, there is one project that I'm hoping to start. I'm planning on calling it DIY or Die. It's going to be a series, and I plan on just showing people how you can DIY things, because I feel like a limiting factor for some people with the punk scene is they don't know how to make the clothes. They don't know how to like make their own stuff, so they kind of feel like a poser. I definitely did at a point. But after I learned how to do all of these things and taught myself how to do it and applied it, um, I felt more secure, and I feel like there just needs to be more resources for artists to learn and expand their abilities, and also just for regular people to be able to spice up something in their wardrobe. And since I will be at SLO, it'll be easily accessible, so things that you can do with things that you mostly will find around the house. Maybe you have to make a quick trip somewhere, but nothing too intense. And I'm not sure when I'm going to start that, but keep an eye out for it, because I'm hoping to do a lot of informative content with that. So yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
Any final thoughts?
Final thoughts. Generative AI and AI art should be kept out of the punk and the hardcore scene. I think the concept of generative AI being used to create art is fucking appalling. I don't think there's ever a justified reason to use it. You are taking something that is supposed to be created, handmade, and like have some kind of a purpose of representing the art that comes with music, and you are just generating something soulless that is stealing from millions of other images to create this one horrendous Frankenstein amalgamation of an image. And I think generative AI is putting artists like me under attack, and it's terrifying. So I think we all just kind of need to recognize that generative AI and AI art is not art. And something beautiful that I heard somewhere, I don't recall who said it, but I firmly believe that generative AI proved the existence of the human soul by showing us what art looks like without one. Um, I have very strong feelings about generative AI for art. So that's my final thought. Thank you, Wolven, for interviewing me. This was stressful as fuck, but hopefully I don't sound too stupid. And thanks for listening. I guess if you made it all this way, this was probably like a 10-minute ramble. So yeah, thanks.
Yeah, thank you for your time.
No worries.